This past week marked the 60th anniversary of the organization of the United States Army Reserve, and with us tonight is Brigadier General Norbert Hennen, who just recently took over a command in our area, which of course will involve him with that celebration and actually with observance of several anniversaries to come, I would suspect. You're now commander of the brand new organization which replaced the 14th U.S. Army Corps, as I understand, General.
Well, the 14th U.S. Army Corps is still in business, but around June, we expect to replace it. We're called the 88th Army Reserve Command.
Now, this is the 60th anniversary. You tell me that the first one organized 60 years ago was a medical unit?
Yes, April 23rd, 1908 marks the first day that an Army Reserve unit was in existence.
I'm sure that many of our viewers are going to be very much aware of what the 14th U.S. Army Corps is, and probably many of them have been involved with it. Could you tell us what changes will be affected shortly for them, those who have been involved with the 14th U.S. Army Corps?
Well, a U.S. Army Corps was a geographical area for the administration of military units within that area. The 14th U.S. Army Corps embraced the states of Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, North Dakota, and South Dakota. We will have essentially that same area, except that they've given us Nebraska in place of Wisconsin.
General Hennen, as you obviously have done, I know you are a reserve general, a general in the reserve. You have another full-time civilian job. Could you tell us what that is?
Well, I'm an attorney and certified public accountant and secretary-treasurer of Aragoni Brothers Company. We make terrazzo and cement and tile.
I know that while I was in the reserve for many years, we were called citizen soldiers, sometimes less fondly, weekend warriors and so forth, but we have recently seen that the reserve is a very valuable adjunct to our military forces, and that they do perform a service, and recently several of them have been activated, have they not?
Yes, within our Army Reserve Command, there is a unit which is located at Winthrop and Worthington, Minnesota, another unit in Nebraska located in the towns of Hastings, York, and Grand Island, and then we also have administrative responsibility for a transportation unit in Omaha, Nebraska.
General, we were talking about civilian involvement and so forth in the Army Reserve and other sorts of reserve organizations. I know that yours has been rather considerable over several years, hasn't it?
I don't think I quite got the question.
Well, your involvement in reserve for some 30-some years, I believe?
Oh, yes. 32 as an officer and 4 as enlisted man in the Wisconsin National Guard.
Now, it can be a very satisfying and a very fulfilling career, I know, if you become involved in the kind of unit that makes use of your talents and things of that nature, wouldn't you say that to be true?
I would say yes. It's a source of great deal of satisfaction to be able to shape a unit that you know can do a job.
And in the Army Reserve, you do have several different kinds of support units which would involve the same sorts of activity frequently that they would be participating in civilian life as well. Wouldn't you say that to be true?
Yes, precisely. In fact, that's the concept of the Army Reserve. The Army Reserve, in its organized units, has about 260,000 people. Total reserve, which when you include the individuals, comes to just about 1 million. But of these people, most are set up in units where the civilian pursuits are adapted to military use. Like, for instance, we have a public information detachment here, comprised of many personalities whom you are acquainted with. Mm-hmm. And when you put a uniform on them, why, they're doing the same thing, essentially, that they did in civilian life. The units that were activated, for instance, are supply, ordnance, and transportation units. And these individuals in their civilian capacity do the same type of work when they're in their home community.
For those who may not know, a reserve commitment involves normally either one drill a week or a couple of weekends a month or something of that nature, does it not?
Yes, there are 48 drill units, and in addition to the 48 days or so-called drills, the reservists will require 2 weeks of anekdutra.
For those who may not recognize that term, General, anekdutra refers to annual active duty training, right?
That's right, part of the alphabet soup.
And it's normally accomplished at a conventional Army post with regular Army units, isn't it?
Yes, many of our troops, of course, go to Camp McCoy, Wisconsin, which is the closest, but we send units throughout the United States. The public information detachment went to Benjamin Harrison in Indiana, and we have a base postal unit, for instance, that will go to the main post office in San Francisco for their 2 weeks duty.
Now, certainly, you are an example of what can happen to a person who makes a career of the Army Reserve, and there is regular promotion, regular advancements, and also there is retirement benefit build-up, isn't there?
That's true. Of course, a reservist has to attain the age of 60 before he can reap any benefits from retirement. But I think that along the way there are all the advantages of, well, competing with one's fellow officers, the physical requirements, for instance, which have to be met. I think there are a lot of pluses that come to the reservist.
Incidentally, this reorganization is going to mean something in terms of the available positions for advancement too, isn't it?
Yes, the creation of the 88th Army Reserve Command, of course, provides for a general officer, a number of full colonels, many lieutenant colonels. There are 50 officers in the headquarters itself. We have another new unit, the Inventory Control Center, which will have 51 officers in it and 300 enlisted men, automatic data processing type.
General Hennen, congratulations very much on your brand new command, and congratulations to you and the Army Reserve on the 60th anniversary.
Thank you.